Got Your Back Pod Stream is brought to you by Mr. Dirk. From casual wear to suits and formals, Mr. Dirk helps you find the perfect fit with the right look for any occasion. Step up your wardrobe at MrDirk.com.
Well, that was far from perfect, but the Oilers, with some accountability and some grit, find a way to grind out their first win of the season. 1 win, 3 losses through their first 4 games, and now they head out on the road. Welcome to Got Your Back, folks. Ryan Shaugger, Jason Struddy joining you. Rob Brown will be joining us in a little bit. I just finished up in the Oiler locker room, so I am safely on a hands-free device driving myself home in our mobile Adrenaline Diesel studio. Struddy?
If you need a part manufactured, replicated, or repaired, Adrenaline Diesel has you covered with their brand new machine shop. Visit adrenalinediesel.ca.
Great stuff, my friend. And as always, Strud, the show tonight is brought to you by our title sponsor, Play Alberta.
When you gamble, use your game sense. Play Alberta makes it easy to set deposit limits, time limits, and more, so you can play casino games, bet on sports safely, securely, and responsibly. Everything you need to know is at playalberta.ca.
Right on. Good job. I like this, buddy. I like this. I'm driving safely. You got the ad read. We can dive right in, get started a little earlier here, and lots to talk about tonight, Struds. We'll dive into all the minutiae and everything in a couple of minutes. But let me ask you this question. Is it more meaningful, buddy, when you grind out a game and scrap your way through it and come from behind and beat the odds? Does that type of win help more than a 2 or 3-1 win where the Oilers just lead the whole way and grab a W? Can it be more therapeutic for a group that was banged up, you think, pal?
110%. This is the first time we've seen this kids, this team engaged in the game, where there's an emotional connection to the game. And I get it. They're coming off, the Game 7 loss. It's hard to connect in preseason. They weren't able to. They didn't in the first 3 games. Tonight, we saw an emotional connection to their game with the Flyers. And so now you're like, okay, I remember that feeling. It's fun to play that way. I remember that feeling. Hopefully now this can kind of kickstart them into Game 5 on the road.
100%. We'll break it down in just a minute. Before we dive into the nuts and bolts of this one, though, Struds, I just want to take a minute to kind of acknowledge what happened with the Columbus Blue Jackets and Florida Panthers tonight. This was a big emotional night. If anybody hasn't had a chance to see any of the highlights, it was a pretty neat way to pay tribute to the Gaudreau brothers. And I thought the Columbus Blue Jackets, I thought the Florida Panthers just did an amazing job, Struds. I'm sure you saw it. If you can maybe take people through a little bit of the way they handled it tonight.
Well, it was a very emotional moment. What's pretty crazy is how many ex-Flames and ex-teammates of Gaudreau were on both teams, and so what they did is that to start the game, they had 4 players only for Columbus and left the left wing open. And everyone had obviously agreed about this. The faceoff was 1, 2 where Johnny would be on the left wing, and they let 13 seconds tick off the clock. And then they went on and, dropped the puck and started again. And before the game, they, retired the jersey of Johnny Gaudreau, number 13. His wife made a statement. There was a lot of emotion going on. I would have been a disaster going through that. But I think I don't know, he honored, he was a very loved player. He was a Flame for a long time, but everyone loved Johnny hockey, right? He was a fun guy to be around. And so I thought they did a really nice job. And as I watched the highlights, I didn't watch it live. I kept thinking to myself, where do you even start? Who comes up with these ideas? So whoever did, give them full credit. I thought they absolutely nailed it today to honor a really tough situation, but someone who's obviously loved by so many across the world of sport.
You know what I thought was amazing about it, Struds, is the way they decided to do that, it was for a moment, it was bigger than the game, right? Like they were willing to click down 13 seconds of game time, in honor of him. He was bigger than the game, and not, I just thought it was so classy. I loved it. It was very emotional. And you kind of get teary watching. You're just like, man, but good for them. They did a great job, and it was pretty awesome to watch. And I wanted to start with that, Struds, because it's, I just thought it was really well done. And, we could have made it our play of the day, but we did have a goalie goal as well today. So we'll save that for our play of the day. And I think this one needed to be right off the top of the show. Big kudos to both of those organizations. But we got another win to talk about, buddy. So let's get to our breakdown, brought to you by Alberta Ram Dealers. Struddy?
Brought to you by Alberta Ram Dealers. Across Canada, Clear is here with the biggest deal of the year. Get 10 grand in discounts on 20 to 24 Ram 1500s. DS Warlock, only at your Alberta Ram dealer.
Okay, there's a bunch of spots we could start with here, Struds, but maybe I'll get your thoughts on the way the Oilers handled the bulk of that night before the fights, before the comebacks had started. Did you feel like they had taken any steps in their game and were better poised to come back tonight before all the good stuff started happening? Like, what did you think of, 3 straight losses and what they came out with tonight and where they got to?
Well, I text you, I don't know if it was halfway through the game, maybe a little bit more than that through the game. And I thought they had more tempo to their game today, right? There was more just pace, and they looked sharper and a little bit more engaged in the game. And that was kind of my overall thought, because I'm trying to watch and trying to figure out what I saw. But that's what I felt they came out with, what it looked like live.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think they had more pace. I think they tried a little bit to be a little bit more physical where they could. I still think that the big guys were fighting it a little bit, struggling. I think all the penalties that happened early in the game definitely didn't help. But I would agree that they took a bit of a step, I think, for bigger portions of that game. Let's get to Leon Draisaitl's night, because he kind of bookended this day, Struds. Like, he ends up with the overtime winner. He ends up setting up with a second assist on the huge tying goal. But there were some bumps along the way, man. And for a second straight game, he takes a selfish penalty, quite frankly. And the coach sat him on the bench for a couple of shifts. I mean, we just don't see that. And so Knobloch rolls past Draisaitl 5-on-5 multiple times, throws him out on the power play, then plays him the rest of the game, and he totally redeemed himself, Struds. That's the way it's supposed to work. That's accountability.
Yeah, I mean, the penalty Leon took, for those who didn't see it, it was right at the end of the second period. And there was a bit of a tie-up, and then Leon cross-checked another player from behind down on the ice. And I get it. There may be something happened, or I'm not sure. But, you need to understand where your team's at, or not. He does understand. You have to feel it, and sometimes just take a step back from yourself, saying, this is more about me than it is about the team. And I'm not giving one for the team. I'm just taking one from the team for this. It's not really has anything to do with the game. So then all of a sudden, you go by and you clearly, or you recognize right away that he lost a couple spots in his lines, comes back and gets motivated and gets it done. I thought what was interesting was his reaction after scoring. He wasn't happy. He didn't look mad. He almost looked a little contrite, if that's the right word. Like, he was just like, okay, I got this done, but knowing that there's probably more for him to give it to his team and his game and how he's kind of playing right now. Not satisfied with what happened, because it was a short burst of really good hockey.
Yeah, for sure. And listen, we're going to get to Troy Stetcher, and we're going to get to Corey Perry, and we're going to give the third line its due. All of those things are going to happen. But I do want to focus on Draisaitl's night a little bit here, because I think Struds, this was a big moment for the head coach. I don't believe that is an easy thing to do. Like, that is a difficult player to bench. And he knows what's going on. The whole bench knows what's going on. All the players, everybody. The media knows what's going on, and the fans who are paying attention know what's going on in the building. That is no small thing. And I know Strud's like old school hockey, like big deal. Guys get benched all the time, right? What's the big deal? This doesn't happen to Leon Draisaitl. It doesn't. Almost never. But one of the biggest criticisms that I had for Jay Woodcroft last season was he could not find a way to get more accountability out of the group. He wouldn't hold guys accountable. It was one of the most vocal criticisms I had of Woodcroft, and one of the reasons why I think he had a hard time getting his arms around it. This couldn't have been easy for Knobloch to do, Struds, and I think it was really, I'm impressed that he did it, quite frankly.
Yeah, you are right that, people get benched all the time, but this level of player and this type of benching is a pretty significant one. And you would know on the bench, everyone would know on the bench that it's happening, right? Because it's like, X, Y, Z are going out there. Then all of a sudden it's X, B, and D. You're like, what the hell's going on? Why isn't he? And you kind of look back, like, what the hell's going on? And forwards, they don't miss anything. They're always fighting for ice time. They all think they should play the whole game. So when he's sat, it really gets everyone's attention. And I think with that, Chris now has the attention of the entire team because he sat, they're top, one of their top two players for even though it was a long time, it was still the point of that happening. So it serves two purposes. One, to get the attention of the team, but two, it also gets the attention of that specific player and saying, hey, there is a standard that we expect you to kind of play within, or a guideline. If you're going to stray out of it, I will use this tactic. Because for a guy like Leon, it is embarrassing to get benched. Everyone's embarrassed. But when you're Leon Draisaitl, it is embarrassing because, there's no reason for you to be benched. You're so talented, such a good player. He works hard. He does everything right. And here's a time where, it was a choice he made and has made in the past with some bad penalties and bad time of the penalties. And so I give Knobloch credit. And, even the way that Leon responded, I think it was a healthy moment. And I think it could not have turned out better for Chris Knobloch and Leon Draisaitl.
Oh, no kidding. No kidding. The fact that Draisaitl got the winner. Here's what I like. I thought Knobloch showed really good touch because the Oilers killed the penalty. And then what they normally do is they come back with Draisaitl and McDavid together and like Hyman or somebody, right? Out of a penalty kill, they do that because the other team's best players will have just tired themselves out on the power play, and you generally can get a mismatch in that situation. Knobloch still sent Draisaitl out for that mismatch shift after they killed the penalty. And then he waited until the next rotation through 5-on-5, and back-to-back rotations through, he put Skinner out there, I think both times. Draisaitl sat at the far end of the bench. He was the grocery stick. He sat next to the D, like with his gloves kind of up on the bench, down at the far end. That's where guys that are getting benched sit. And Draisaitl sat there for two straight rotations. But then Struds, they drew a penalty, and there was no hesitation. Threw him right over the boards. And from there on, the rest of the way, Draisaitl took every shift and double shifted and was a huge part of it. So I love the fact that it was a stern, subtle message, but he didn't put the team's ability to come back in that game in jeopardy by doing that.
Yeah, it worked out well, right? It couldn't have been scripted better. So did he get lucky? Whether or not the Oilers come back, I think it's the right decision because he lets them know.
Yeah.
But he got really lucky because now, Leon understands the boundaries of what the expectations are for him as an individual.
Well, he understands them as far as taking penalties, Struds. He understands them as far as taking penalties. Not about cross-ice backhand saucer passes at the blue line. I know. Because his next shift, he threw one of those across the ice.
Yeah.
I'm laughing.
And that's a tough. So you got to, but you also have to give that player leeway, right? But the penalties,
I agree.
It's pretty easy. The leeway, if it's a 6-1 game, you want to take a run at someone, go for it. You want to cross-check a guy. We don't want you suspended, Leon, but if you want to do, I honestly, I have no problem. If you're frustrated, let a guy have it or whatever. That doesn't bother me. But in a tight game and you're trying to get traction And it feels like you're, for most of this season, it feels like the Oilers, they're stepping up 2 stairs, but slide down 3, right? Like they're just not quite there. So that's why I think that it worked out well. It couldn't have gone out better, but now Leon has those guidelines to those penalties, but everyone else on the team does too, right? So if someone else does, a couple back-to-back penalties like that, I think you got to do the same thing. Say, hey man, Strudwick, you're sitting for a couple here, you old dog.
Yep. I like it, man. I like it. I thought it was gutsy of the coach. I thought it was necessary. That's not easy to do. We've seen other coaches really hesitant to do that sort of thing. And you're right, though. It worked out perfect for both of them because Dryisadle got his redemption. He can be a little sour in the back of his mind, but in the back of his mind, he knows. Like he knows in the back of his mind, as maybe tough as that was to take. I asked him about it post-game. He wasn't super pumped. We'll get to the Weiss Johnson soundbox here. Struds, if you've got that ad read ready, we'll go to the Weiss Johnson soundbox, and we will hear from Leon Zuby. Give us what you got on Dryisadle, and then Knobloch right after that. Also, I asked Knobloch about the benching, but Struds, if you got our Weiss Johnson read there, pal.
Yeah, brought to you by Weiss Johnson Heating and Air Conditioning. Hockey season means the cold is coming. If it's time for a new furnace, garage heater, or hot water tank, Weiss Johnson is here for all your home comfort needs, specializing in servicing your existing systems or installing new ones. Get ready to be cozy this Oilers hockey season. Visit WeissJohnson.com today. Hit it.
Weiss Johnson, whoa. We're proud to be local.
I got
Go ahead, Zuby, with
Shaugger. I got the short exchange of you asking Leon. Do you want that, or do you want to just hear his sort of summary?
No, that's fine. Yeah, just play the exchange, and then did he talk about his penalty as well? Do you have that one?
Yeah, I have it. Kind of comes on the tail end of another answer, but yes. Okay, here we go.
Yeah. Go ahead and play both those.
I have to ask you, Leon, it looked like Chris might have rolled past you a couple of times there after the penalty. Is that the way it went in your eyes? And what are your thoughts?
You're going to have to ask him that.
And then this was another answer he gave about the overall game.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're not maybe as clean as we want to be on that last touch, but we've certainly created some looks or some zone time. It just hasn't really resulted in anything. So sometimes that's all it takes. So hopefully we can carry that over.
Your thoughts on that cross-check they got you on the second period?
Yeah, I mean, it's unnecessary penalty on my behalf.
And then Knobloch, Zuby?
Yeah, here's the coach.
Yeah, I think tonight as a group we took some penalties that we didn't need to take. I don't know what the total was, 7 or 8 tonight. If we're gonna have success, we obviously have to stay out of the penalty box, and our penalties kill is gonna come up clutch and kill penalties at a better rate than they are right now. We know that's gonna happen, but we just got to ultimately stay out of the penalty box and play our game, make it easier on ourselves so we can play on the attack, play on 5-on-5, or even be drawing penalties.
So I asked him specifically about benching Dryisadle, and he gave the general answer about the team, Struds, which I think was probably smart on his part. What did you make of his answer and Leon's quick response?
Yeah, I mean, Leon, he looks like he knows he was in the wrong, right? He wasn't pushing back too much. But he doesn't have to answer the question either. Like he's like, it wasn't his choice to get benched, right? It was his decision, his choice, or his play led to the choice by Knobloch to bench him. But I agree with him. Like, hey man, talk to him. Like he's the one who did it. But he just seemed a little bit, I don't know what the right word is, like a bashful or whatever. Like he knows he was in the wrong, right? He knows. And then for Knobloch, I don't think if he doesn't say too much about it, but the one thing I did notice, like the penalties were way too many tonight. Like there was so many.
Yeah.
And they can't do, there's so much pressure on their penalty kill. Their penalty kill is not where it needs to be. But the one thing I do want to touch on, just Leon talked a little bit about the power play. And honestly, Philly did a great job. They couldn't pass it through their diamond box, whatever you want to call it. Philly did a really good job, and the Oilers were kind of passing around. It was pretty rare for them to try to zip one through the middle of the ice to what they normally do. So well done by Philly. And the Oilers still have a little work to get that dynamic power play going.
Yeah, that's a great point by you. Okay, we got Brownie standing by here, I think, in the next 5 or 6 minutes. So, Struds, I'm just home now. I'm going to go in and get set up on the computer. If you guys want to do the Relentless player and the YouTube poll, then I'll touch base with you after the break.
All right, let's do this, guys. Let's get to Relentless Player, brought to you by You Can Youth Services, an Edmonton charity relentless in helping youth aged 16 to 24 get out of harm's way and get employment. Visit youcan.ca to see how your donation can change lives right here in your community. So I think Shaugger's going to be a little surprised by this, but I'm actually going to go with Philip Gustafson, the netminder for the Minnesota Wild. He had, and I know this is out there, the 15th goal in NHL history by a goalie. And if you didn't see it, it was 3-1. The Blues pulled their goalie. Puck was, I'm not sure why the defenseman chose to shoot the puck right in at the goalie. So it was a neutral zone face-off, D to D. Guy gets it, shoots it right at the goalie, and Gustafson gets it down. And there was no doubt he was going for it. And he fires it, and it went in about 3 inches inside the left post. And I love that. I just loved it. Goalies, they can't help themselves. And you'll get a chance here, Zoo, but they are so hot and horny. Just when they get a chance, they're firing it down and trying to score. He was relentless in his goal to score a goal in his career, Zoobs.
Certainly, his relentless in his pursuit of the goalie goal. It's true. When I watching the highlights, it made me laugh because his eyes were like saucers when that shot's coming into his glove, because he was thinking about it, and they always are. And I've never been a good enough puck handler to even consider it. But anytime a goalie scores a goal, they're thinking about it 3-4 seconds in advance. So when they actually get the puck, they're always those guys have it on their mind that they want to try and do that. And man, are they good at it? I mean, great shot. Fabulous. Good stuff. And huge, did you see him? He even skated and did the high fives down the bench, and Flower was pretty excited for him too.
Well, everyone would be excited. You're like, you'd feel sick if you're on the other team. It's embarrassing. But like that D, man, for those people listening, on a 6-on-5, you never shoot the puck straight at the goalie on a dump in. Like that is, you want him not to handle it. You want to keep it away from him. Yeah. And that guy did the exact opposite. So just an absolute mess for them. But I mean, St. Louis is going to lose the game anyways. All right, lots to get to in this show, but let's just get up to our YouTube poll. We have a great stream going here, Zuby. So the YouTube poll is brought to you by De Boer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center, helping you play better golf since 1999 with their TrackMan fitting bays, instruction, after-sales support, golf merchandise, and clothing. Go down and check out their pro shop style atmosphere, located at 5311 99th Street in Edmonton. So what do you got for a poll today, you old dog?
All right. Well, we had a great poll on Sunday that we forgot to even do. It's just completely not. Shaugger said we'll give the results, not relevant. We're going to go into tonight's poll. Tonight's poll is who was tonight's first star. We're asking the stream, in your opinion, who was the Oilers' first star tonight? And the choices are Stu Skinner, Troy Stetcher, Adam Henrique, or Leon Dryisadle, who was named by Sportsnet as the actual first star. And we're getting some write-in votes for one Darnell Nurse. Maybe we'll chat about that a little bit later on as well. But who's your first star, Struddy, if you're picking the stars tonight?
I think I'm going Stetcher. I really think that, we saw a situation earlier where against Calgary where Backlund didn't kill him, but he kind of gave a little slap on the back of the legs to Skinner, and there was not even a dirty look cast his way. Stetcher, there's no doubt about it. He went after him, and I love that. I love that. And Couture's a big guy. Now let's not get too overworked. This isn't exactly Muhammad Ali that he jumped and tried to fight, but at the same time, he's a much bigger man. But that's the response you want when and I've been this guy, when you're the guy on the fringe trying to get in the lineup, your teammates love it, but your coaches remember it. And that's the benefit of the doubt. So I think, playing wise, that was a really smart move by Stetcher. And that was the right thing. And I know in the moment he's like, hey, I got to do this to get more playing time. But playing wise, that was a really, really astute move and it really ignited the Oilers. So I was going to go with Stetcher. What did you see?
I love that play. I also love that there was just the quickest of looks. I felt like he went like this and went, no, it's me, and went, like it felt like
Yeah.
Stetcher took a quick look. So I love that even though he took a look, he decided he was going to be the guy. I love that. And obviously that seems like the play that turned the tide. I loved Adam Henrique's game. So to give a vote somewhere else. I thought he's been fantastic, and that when the Oilers first traded for him, I went and watched some footage on him, and I couldn't believe how many goals he scores on the backhand. He scores that backhand high goal on rebounds all the time, but I hadn't really seen it yet in an Oiler uniform. And I think I was saying just to myself watching the game about a minute before he scored, we could really use something out of Henrique. He's been quiet tonight. I thought he'd been good in other games, but quiet tonight. And then he comes through with that big goal. So yeah, lots to choose from tonight. So nice to have a little bit of a different vibe to the show, a different vibe to the poll tonight. So we'll say it's just one game again, even when it was just one game when they lost the first game, but the first lost was just one game as well. But fun night
on the road.
Yeah. And what do you think the timing like that is?
Yeah,
you got your win, but is it good to get out there?
It's a good time to get out, but they're going out with a win. They're heading out now. What do they have? Nashville, who was winless so far this year's. Like the Oilers were. So I think this is important. This is an important one for them to Oilers to get a win, get out there, and it was an emotional game. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, take a chance, give us the thumbs up, subscribe. Tell your friends. We appreciate, we love all of our listeners that we're running to all over the city, including people that don't recognize me. They're actually wearing one of the hats. So let's take a pause here. When we come back, we'll get Shaugger in, we'll get Brownie in, and keep those thoughts and comments coming here on the stream more right away on the other side of this.
Ready to go all in this season? Mr. Dirk's got you covered with express on-site tailoring, a wide selection of craftsman-made suits, sport coats, and casual staples for every occasion. Score big with Mr. Dirk. We've always got your back. Visit us off White Ave, south of 102nd Street, or browse online at mrdirk.com.
Specializing in heavy-duty commercial truck powertrain repair, performance, tuning, and part sales, Adrenaline Diesel's professional team is ready to assist you with all of your needs, from the simplest oil changes to engine conversions, overhauls, and engine modifications. Featuring an all-new online parts store and machine shop to manufacture, replicate, or repair parts, visit adrenalinediesel.ca.
All right. I managed to get home, but some of the gear wasn't working. So we're on the low quality camera, but that's okay. Ready to roll with takeaways brought to you by Martin Motorsports. It's never too early to start your holiday shopping. Visit Martin Motorsport this weekend at the Sled Show down at the Expo Center. Not only will they be there with a lineup of skidoos and widescape stand-up snowmobiles, but have all your winter gear and accessories on site and on sale. Best prices of the year. Visit Martin Motorsports at the Edmonton Expo Center this Friday and Saturday. As we welcome Rob Brown into the show as well. Brownie, Struds and I talked primarily in that opening segment about Leon Dryisadle, his up and down night, the benching, the overtime winner, and all of that. Do want to get your thoughts on that, but let's start with the grit. The grit that the Oilers showed, Troy Stetcher answering the bell there, and the job that he did, and how much of an impact do you think that had on the game, bud?
Well, the headlines are going to be McDavid sets up a couple goals, Leon comes back from a benching and scores the game winner, but the Oilers, they don't get to overtime if it's not from their role players. The third and fourth lines were fantastic in this hockey game. And then Stetcher stepping up. We talked a lot after the Calgary game when Skinner was two-handed by Backlund and there was no response. Well, tonight there was a response. And it brought energy and excitement into an arena that had none. Stetcher needed to stand on a step stool to fight Couturier, giving up about 6-8 inches. but good on him. And then Corey Perry comes out and he does it, a fourth line guy. 100%. The Oilers got 2 points tonight, and then it's not on the back of their superstars. To me, it was on the back of their role players who came and played well all game long, and allowed the Oilers to stay in a hockey game and eventually find a way to get 2 points.
What's Couturier doing? Why is he taking that fight? Like, he's got to know better. I'm sorry, Brownie. You bump into the goalie. Like, I think Skinner went down a lot harder than it was. I think he did the same thing against Backlund. But if you're a Couturier, say just skate by him. Like, no, I'm not fighting you. I'm just skating away. Like, there's nothing going on. That is a fight you do not want to take if you're Couturier, and you don't have to take it.
Strud, and that. Well, it's Couturier and Farabee. Those two fights you didn't need to take. You're winning.
Yeah.
I mean, your role in the National Hockey League was, when things are going right, go create some excitement. And you did that very, very well. And I watched you do it for years in Edmonton. That's what Stetcher did, and that's what Corey Perry did. The Oiler team did not look good for most of the game, especially their top players. And there was zero excitement in that arena, but there certainly was after those moments. So you're right, Couturier shouldn't have taken the fight, neither should Farabee. And because of that, they allowed the Edmonton Oilers role players to manufacture energy. And I think that carried through the rest of the game for the Oilers.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, I think Couturier just recently in a game, might have even been late in exhibition, I can't remember. He stepped in when something happened that he didn't like, and the guy took the fight. I think that Sean Couturier is, he's a leader. I think he tries to play an honorable game. And I think, he banged into the goalie. I think he was willing to go because he felt like, all right, if you're going to bump into a goalie, I guess you got to be ready to back that up. I don't disagree with what you guys are saying about that he shouldn't have taken the fight. I just think, when you have Sean Couturier on your team, that's probably a fight that he's going to take. And I don't know, I kind of respect him for it. The Farabee one to me is the one that didn't make even more sense. Like, there's no need at that point. The Oilers just grabbed some momentum there. It's off a face-off. There's no need. That to me was more egregious than Couturier in the moment answering the bell.
Well, you're right, Shaugger. And the biggest thing about the Farabee one, Farabee's a top six forward. Corey Perry,
that's a great trade-off.
Your bottom line. That's a fantastic trade for the Edmonton Oilers. 10 minutes to go in a hockey game, a one-goal game. And all of a sudden, you just took one of the top 4 or 5 forwards off of the Philadelphia Flyers. I mean, and that's Corey Perry. He's not dumb. He wasn't going out there and picking Hathaway or someone on the Flyers' fourth line. He was going after a player that would make a difference in the hockey game. That's professionalism. So Corey Perry, good on him.
Yeah. I think both guys made the mistake. I mean, it's just, and I get it. You're caught up in the moment. I've been there, but I don't know. Unless Couturier thinks he's going to absolutely beat the wheels off that guy. Because if you bump in the goal, then you grab that guy, a little guy, and you beat the wheels off him, it's like, no, this isn't happening. This isn't happening, right? But I think it was a tie. I don't think anyone really got anything on each other. So yeah, mistake, and he quite honestly probably cost himself a point today.
Yeah. So the third line, I mean, I think from the start of the season, you could probably say, I don't know if you guys disagree with me, but I think Adam Henrique has been on the most consistent line from the start of the season, had the most decent nights and taking care of their job. And I feel like he's been good. And on this night, with the top guys kind of sputtering, trying to find it, they were struggling. Man, it was on the strength of that sort of energy level that they brought. They come up with multiple goals like Struds. You just can't overstate what that means to a group when in tough moments, when things aren't going right. It's not just all about if McDavid and Dryisadle can get it sorted out. For those guys to do that is huge.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Henrique, Perry, Brown, they've been around a long time, right? They understand the game. They were never, well, I guess Corey Perry was, so no, but Brown and Henrique have kind of been that secondary group of players, but Perry's been at the top. But they understand that feeling, what is needed, how to manufacture kind of, polish a turd into a diamond, right? Like they understand how to do that. all three of those guys, and they got it done. They have got it done over the course of their career. So that's why they're here. That's why they're on that line. And I think that line with Skinner looks good. I like Skinner on that line. I think that it's still all in flux. But I like him there. I think he's playing with a lot of energy. Like, there was the play, I don't know if you guys noticed it. The puck went up the wall, and he hit that Mitchkoff and then took the puck. I was like, what? Who is this guy? Like, that was a great play. You could almost interference, borderline on interference. And then Mitchkoff, I think that guy's a little bit dramatic. He goes down all the time. But anyways, he still got it out, and good for Skinner.
Yeah, and the other thing about Skinner, like, this is a little bit surprising to me. And maybe I didn't think that this was in his game. And maybe it's just a product of being sick and tired of not winning and not playing. Like, he's got to be desperate to get there. But there's a little anger in his game and a little zip in his game. Like, Brownie, did you see the one time the linesman, one of the Flyers defensemen dumped it in, but he didn't quite get to the red line, and Skinner wanted the icing call? He went nuts at the linesman, yelling and screaming at the linesman and waving his arm and banging his stick like he was mad. And then Struds, I think it was like the next shift, he went out there and threw that hit and stole that puck. And through the last couple of games, Skinner has showed some gamesmanship and some competitiveness that's, I mean, I guess that's why we said we're not going to judge this player through exhibition where he was invisible, because there's something on the line right now, Brownie, and he's kind of brought it the last couple of games in a way that is a little surprising to me.
Well, he's been their best forward the last two games, and I don't even think it's close. And I do remember the play. He screamed at that ref forever, and he was pointing exactly where the defenseman was, and he was right. The defenseman was about 3 feet short of the line. He's the one that went after Crossville after he hit McDavid last game, went two-handed him 3 times in the back of the leg. Like, he was someone that actually showed up. So Skinner has been fantastic, and I don't care where Skinner is in the lineup. He's made the players around him better. He was good. And it's funny, when the Oilers struggled out of the gate, lost 3 straight, there's all the talk was about, no Holloway, no McLeod, no Fogle. Are they fast enough up front? But people keep forgetting that the Oilers' bottom 6 were good in those games. It was their top 6 that weren't. It wasn't a spot where Fogle would have been or Holloway would have been. It was the Oilers' best players were not good, but their role players have been. Both the Henrique line and Derek Ryan's line has been good, playing with Corey Perry. So the role players have done their job. Now, hopefully today, with the way that this game ended for Connor and Leon, that maybe that'll be the spark to get them going. But the bottom 6 they've been very consistent through 4 games.
Do we have Adam Henrique, Zuby, in the Weiss Johnson soundbox?
I do, yeah.
Okay, why don't you grab that? Here's Adam Henrique post-game.
I think through these games, there's opportunities to respond. I think we did that tonight. Sometimes, like I said the other night, we 2 goals called back, another one tonight, but we did a good job, just kept responding, and just found a way to claw back in and capitalize on, a great late goal and then a huge goal in overtime too for a big win for us.
I think we need to acknowledge Stuart Skinner as well. He made some pretty critical saves, Struds. I think in the second period, he kind of dialed it in and was pretty tight for the group, I think, while they were finding it.
Yeah, I mean, Stu is just like many of the other top players on this team. They just were a little out of sync, right? And you got to give him a little time to get in there. And then the doubters, they love talking about how, he can't do it. Well, he has done it. He has done it to the tune of a run to the Stanley Cup final. Did he have a hiccup? Yeah, he did. But so did the guy, Bobrovsky, on the other side. He had a hiccup too. So, I think you have to he'll get it. He'll find it. And I was encouraged by what I saw today from him. Tons of posts, man. Like, there was tons of posts in that game. I don't know what the record is, but both sides seem to have some posts today.
Yeah.
I agree too, Shaugger. Skinner, when the Flyers had 3 or 4 chances to extend the lead, which might have been too much because the Oilers hadn't faced adversity very well this year. But Skinner made some big saves. That Owen Tippett could have had 9 goals tonight.
Oh,
He was the best player on the ice in this hockey game and came away with nothing. But Skinner stood tall against him with that Tippett. Oh, that, you know what, Strud and Shaugger? That Flyer team is going to be very, very good. They had 12 players, 25 years of age or younger. They got 3 first-round picks in this year's draft. They are good. But that was an entertaining game. But, yeah, Stuart Skinner, he kept them in when they were struggling a bit. I think a boost of confidence, we're going to go to all the Oilers' best players tonight. Hopefully that'll pay dividends on this next road trip.
What'd you guys think of Michkov? Struds, you can start.
Yeah, skilled, fast. I really liked him. The 2 goals. The first one, I mean, I don't think he's going to put that on his hockey card. That second one, though, bomb. Just quick pass over, bang. Like, there was no doubt. Like, that was so smooth, so quick. They've got something there for sure. I mean, taking 7th, obviously, because he was Russian and everything was going on, but I don't think he's a 7th overall pick, Brownie.
No, he's talented, ton of skill, but big learning lesson for him though at the end of the game. If he stops in front of the net after Connor misses on the breakaway, the game might have kept on going. But if you watch it, McDavid actually, after he misses the breakaway, kind of just throws it and it hit Konechny's foot, and then Michkov just continues to skate, leave the zone, and all of a sudden Bouchard and Dryisadle are by themselves in front. So a learning experience. I'm sure he'll see some video of that. But as for skill level, kid's got, and he's like Kaprizov too in many where he's got a little bit of fight in him. Like you talked about Skinner going after him, they went after each other. So I like that. So talented kid that is only going to get better. I think those are going to be the first 2 of many goals he scores in the NHL.
Yeah, good young player. All right, that was Takeaways brought to you by our great friends over at Martin Motorsports. Before we go to break, back to the Weiss Johnson YouTube mentions. And we have a submission here from one Ginny Sabunya saying, "Happy birthday, Zuby." And then we've got Zuby saying, "Thanks, Mom. Still 32 minutes away." So that was a few minutes ago. But Zuby, I hadn't forgot about your birthday, bud. I just knew it wasn't until midnight Edmonton time because I believe this is where you were born, right? So it's midnight Edmonton time.
I was born out east. It's been my birthday for a long time. I was born in Ontario. So,
well, happy birthday, buddy.
And I muted my mom. I banned her from the chat after that, so there won't be any more distractions of like.
Yeah, I would. Good riddance. One Sabunya is too much.
I would never. No. And thank you, lots of people, of course, taking Mom's lead and wishing me a happy birthday. Much appreciated. And good. Got a win. Got a big day tomorrow. And thanks to everybody. Oh, my wife mistakenly referred to me as being 37 earlier. I said, that's a nice. She said, it's your last night of being 36. I said, yeah, 10 years ago. It's my last night of being 46.
So 47.
Yeah.
There you go. She wishes you were still 36.
Yeah.
Yeah. So does your hockey team.
I had that body. Yeah.
Well played, Struddy. Well played. Okay, quick break. When we come back, brownie points, Struddy's World, and Ask Us Anything. You got her locked in to Got Your Back, presented by Play Alberta.
With over 18 years in the industry, Kelly Zaretsky and her team at Blue Summit Accounting deliver client-focused solutions and financial guidance for success in a simple and comfortable way. Whether it's for corporate or personal needs, Blue Summit Accounting can help with taxes, estate planning, financial services, bookkeeping, and more. Get in touch today. Email bluesummitacct@gmail.com or call 780-416-9662.
So at Timberhouse, our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that that just leads to better living.
At Gallery Dental, we believe in blending exceptional care with artistry to create the perfect smile for you. From routine cleanings to advanced cosmetic procedures, our team is dedicated to providing top-notch care in a relaxed and comfortable environment. With state-of-the-art technology and a passion for perfection, we ensure that every visit is a positive experience. Join the Gallery Dental family and let us help you achieve a smile that you'll love to show off. Contact us today at secolanddentistry.com.
Can people hear us during the commercial break, Zuby? We got Tango chiming in saying, I wonder what these guys are talking about during the commercial breaks. I wonder if they could hear us.
Nope.
Anyways, we're always careful about what we say. Time now for Brownie Points, brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky. Need a unique idea for your team or school's next fundraiser? Hamel's can help your organization raise money by customizing a variety of options of their world-famous jerky with over 13 flavors and an all-new jerky and pepperoni bundle that's to die for. There is something for everybody. For more details, visit albertajerky.com. Brownie.
Well, I got one huge brownie point to Philip Gustafson, the first Minnesota goaltender in the history of the National Hockey League to score a goal. He caught the puck today against I remember, who did they play? St. Louis Blues. Caught the puck, fired it down into an empty net, and then went and high-fived everyone on his bench. So congratulations to him. I have minus 100 brownie points to Pavel Vucinovic, who was on the St. Louis team. They won the face-off, and the dum-dum shot the puck from center right into the glove of Gustafson.
What's he
dropped
doing?
it and fired over all of his teammates. What is he doing? Like, you do not fire it to the goalie. He had all the time in the world to put the puck down and fire it down the ice. So, Vucinovic, you get minus 100 brownie points. I got 51 big brownie points. We talked about him. Troy Stetcher. He ignited the crowd. He ignited his team, and he solidified his spot as the number 4 defenseman for the game in Nashville coming up a couple days from now.
Good point.
He's 5'6" when he's standing in heels, and he fought the big man Couturier. Good on him, picking up for his goaltender. And then I got 39 brownie points for Corey Perry, the 39-year-old. Took a fight and took one of Philadelphia's best players off the ice in the final 10 minutes of the hockey game. Good on Corey Perry. That was professionalism at its best. I have 100 brownie points to Chris Knobloch. I think this might have been Chris Knobloch's best night on the bench in coaching. There was one, he benched his star player for taking a silly penalty. Sent a message, not only to Leon, but when you are sitting on your bench and your star gets benched, that goes up and down the bench. Every player on the team now goes, that is how you hold players to account. You hold them accountable. Good on Knobloch for that. But also, we have seen so much in the past that the Oilers come out of a commercial break, come out of an icing. They always go right to the whip and throw Connor and Leon on the ice. Connor and Leon haven't been good, and they weren't good for most of this game. Tonight, they came out of commercial breaks. Fourth line was out there. They stayed out there. Third line was out there. They stayed out there. And that's the way it should have been because those were the players that were playing best. So good on Chris Knobloch. And the final one, I've got 13 huge brownie points to the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Florida Panthers, and the National Hockey League. If anyone didn't see it tonight, Shaugger sent me the video. I watched it. I was in tears. The Columbus Blue Jackets played Florida tonight. They started the game, one man short. They left the left wing where Johnny Gaudreau would be standing. They left it open. They won the faceoff, left the puck there for 13 seconds, the number of Johnny Gaudreau. That might have been the most powerful statement I have ever seen, ever, in the National Hockey League. I was in tears. I'm watching with my family. I had to go upstairs, told them I was going to go take a shower because I thought I was going to break down. I want to give credit to the NHL, the Blue Jackets, and the Florida Panthers for doing that. It was an incredible message for something that we wish we didn't have to see. But good on them because anyone out there that watched that, you were hit with how much we miss someone like Johnny Gaudreau and how unnecessarily he is not with us anymore. So good on them.
Yeah, very, very well said. And Struds and I chatted about it earlier, but some great thoughts from you guys as former players about what we saw out there tonight. Awesome stuff, Brownie. Great Brownie points tonight, buddy. That was a dynamite segment. That might be our play of the day. It was Brownie points tonight, Struds. It's in the running anyways. That was pretty solid.
He nailed it. Oh, he nailed it all right.
All right, Brownie, we know you're parked out front of the house being creepy, so we'll let you get inside. Great job tonight, buddy. Look forward to chatting again in a couple of days.
Sounds good, guys. Take care.
All right, the great Rob Brown with Brownie Points, brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky. Time to transition and throw Struddy in the spotlight for Struddy's World. Zuby, roll it.
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy.
God, I look good. In his voice when he says, God, I look good. Just the passion he has for his own look. God, I look good. Struddy's World brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. Locations in Calgary and Edmonton. Whether you're a homeowner, contractor, builder, DLR is the most reliable source for vinyl fence. Opened in 2005. They're not going anywhere. Unmatched service, high quality North American made products. Visit DLRvinylproducts.ca. Good looking? Have at it.
I've been looking at the stream. I've been looking on social media, and I can't seem to find it, what I'm looking for. Oilers fans, every fan of every team, we love to criticize the refs. But when it is a call that should have been made or could have been made, but it wasn't made on our team, boom, we don't get too into it. In overtime, Sanheim got a breakaway. Connor McDavid was playing D, and he just got twisted around, turned the wrong way, which forwards are known to do. And he chases him back and gets his hand into the midsection of Sanheim. Sanheim goes down, doesn't get a shot off, goes flying into the corner. And we know what happens after that. The puck goes up and they end up going back the other way. But what surprises me, Shaugger, is there's no outrage, because we got to get it right. We got to get every call right. If it had been against Connor McDavid, the roof would have blown off that place. So Oilers fans, this is just your start of the year reminder that there are non-calls on both sides. And I'm telling you, if that had happened to Connor McDavid, Shaggy, there would have been a riot. If no call,
I love it. I love it. You are such a troll, and I love it. You're putting people in their place. Tango on the stream, as soon as you started talking, he goes, "Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. 3, 4, don't do it," from Tango. But you did it, Struddy. You did it. You're putting, and I agree with you, man.
It's crazy.
Twitter was ridiculous after that first period. Like, so ridiculous. And I get, some of them are on the line, and I understand that there's room for a little bit of frustration here or there. But my goodness, man, the outrage on Twitter over the officiating, it's hard, man. It's hard to see. It's hard to watch. It's hard to read.
Was it definitely a penalty? I think when your hand gets into another player's into that area where you're tying them up, I think it's a call. It could be a call. Now, it could have not have been a call. But if it happened to Connor or Leon or anybody on the Oilers, they don't get a shot off or don't get a good opportunity, I think people are losing it, especially when 10 seconds later they score because Leon just walks down Broadway with no one around him because the guy's still in the corner trying to get his foot out of the boards.
Oh, yeah. There was a lot. I mean, I understand, they've had the Perry goal being called back. I get it. I mean, that's the way the NHL has called that one this year. So I understand the frustration. Hyman tonight was interesting. Wasn't a lot of contact there, but he still came through the crease, and there was some contact there.
Bumped that blocker.
The Flyers player had more contact. So I understand some frustration there, but it's in the crease and he touched the goalie and it went in. That's the way the league's calling these this year, Struddy.
Yeah, again, if it had been on the other side, like I would have still said that this would have been a penalty. And then I also think that the Hyman and the Perry, I think the Hyman was easier no call for me. The Perry one, I cannot get behind that one. I
can't get with that one. What do you think about the Flyers goal that the Oilers reviewed? The stick moving the pad and then knocking the puck in.
I know. You know what? I don't know. I think it should have been a non-goal too. But I mean, I don't honestly, Shaugger, if you gave me 10 clips to evaluate, I would be lucky, and if I hadn't seen it before, I'd be lucky to get 50% called correctly the way the NHL calls them. As I don't know what it is. I don't know what the rule is. Like I said, I would have had Perry as a goal. I would have had Hyman as a non-goal. I agreed with that one today. And I would have had the Mitchkov as a non-goal. So I would admit.
So you're admitting they got screwed out of 2 goals in the last 2 games, and yet at the same time you're telling people to settle down.
Yeah, well, but if it had been the opposite, I would have said the same too. Like if the other teams, like I don't know. I don't know what is a goal and what is not a goal. There's the standard seems to be floating all over the place. But I'm not so much. I'm not complaining that it was against the Oilers. I'm complaining that it's against the game of hockey. That's what bothers me. And I think but we opened the can of review, so let's just enjoy it. Let's all just embrace it. Maybe we should view every non-call penalty.
Did you know, and maybe someone can double check this, Daniel Nugent-Bowman and I were sitting in the press box. We're trying to figure out what happens with the next challenge. And he grabbed the rules quickly and look, I didn't have a chance to double check. I think what it was if you challenge again and get another one wrong, you get a double minor. It's a double minor for the next one. Which, if that's the case, I didn't realize that. That's kind of interesting. That's a little bit spicy. All right. Struddy's World brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. Lots of other action around the National Hockey League tonight, so let's get to the scoreboard brought to you by Canadian Club. The second release from their limited edition award-winning Canadian Club Invitation Series hitting shelves this week. Their 18-year-old High Proof comes in at 58% ABV for all you whiskey connoisseurs out there. Full-bodied whiskey with aromas of caramel, toffee, spicy vanilla, and rich oak with a butterscotch finish that is so smooth. Scoreboard, Struds.
Tons of Pacific Division teams in action today. The Canucks lose 4-1 in Tampa Bay. They are still winless on the season, although they have 2 points because of 2 overtime losses. Vegas loses to the Caps. Lose to the Caps 4-2. Their first loss of the year. The Kraken 7-3 winners over the Preds. The Preds are winless and have no points, and the Oilers visit them on Thursday. Interesting that they had lots of free agent changes. The Oilers had some changes, and so did the Canucks, and all 3 teams are out of the gate struggling. But not the Mighty Flames, 4-1. They win 3-1 today over the Hawks. Ryan Huska, give him credit, man. He's got that team playing hard. Can they sustain this? I don't know, but I don't think anyone's going to thought they'd be 4-0 out of the box anyway. So, it's a party time there for the Mighty Flames.
So the Dallas Stars are rocking and rolling. The Calgary Flames rocking and rolling. Winnipeg has yet to lose a game so far. There's some impressive early season performances. I think the Kraken got 4 third-period goals to pick up that win today, too. So that was a come-from-behind win, and hasn't been a great start for Stamkos in Nashville either, Struds, which is kind of interesting. I wasn't really sure what to expect, but I think it's been sluggish for him.
Yeah, well, we're going to see them on Thursday. I got a chance. But, again, it's hard to bring big players into new teams and think they're going to fit in right away. It's a challenge, right? These guys they're not third or fourth line players. These are guys that are used to having the puck on their stick. But so is Forsberg. He's used to having it on his stick there, right? O'Reilly wants it on his stick there.
All right, that was our scoreboard brought to you by Canadian Club. Real good number of people joining us on the YouTube stream here. Do us a favor if you get a chance, hit the like button for us. Pound on the love button too, but mostly hit that like button for us. We appreciate you being here with us live on YouTube, live on Twitter, live on Twitch. Time for Ask Us Anything, brought to you by Mortgages by Maria. With the Bank of Canada lowering rates, it's the perfect time to revisit those options for your mortgage. If you need to renew, don't just sign those papers. Check with Maria Gallus at Maximal Mortgages. She can take care of finding you the best rates and work with your best interests at mind. She really does take in all the information, searches everywhere, scours around. She really takes a lot of time, puts a lot of energy into finding you the exact right product because it's not simple, and she takes it serious. She does a great job. mortgagesbymaria.ca is the website. Zuby, happy birthday, buds.
Thanks, pal. Lots of great stuff. I think we're gonna have some good conversation here. Lots of good stuff on the stream tonight. Stuff that we haven't already covered, so that's always nice to get. On the Leon benching, Noel Rinsky wants to know: do you think KK communicated it with Leon during the intermission, and or would there be a conversation? Do you think one-on-one with them post game?
I think it's more likely an intermission. He would remind the group that you can't take penalties of that kind. And then I would think there'd be a talk between Leon and Chris. Well, I guess they're flying tomorrow, but just like, hey, those aren't acceptable anymore or never been acceptable, but we have to hold each other accountable.
Yeah, this is the fascinating stuff to me, Struds, because, I mean, I'm not sure if we'll even ask Chris because they're gone for a few days now, and I'm not on the road with the team. I'd certainly ask him tomorrow or the next day, but we're not on the road with the team. So we see what happens on the surface, right? We see him make that decision, but it's fascinating to me what Knobloch's next steps might be. Like, do you need to have that conversation? Do you check in? Do you just proceed like everything is exactly the same and not even say a word because you've made your point? And so you move on. And if Leon has any sort of issue or whatever, he'll take it up with his coach. Like, I think there's a good possibility maybe you just roll right through it, Struds. Like, he got the game winner, they move on, message sent. Like, it'll happen again if it happens again, but just move right through. I'm fascinated. I wish I knew what happened.
100% right. All those are a possibility, right? Because I have a hard time seeing how Leon could defend that play in that moment.
Yeah.
You know, what are you going to say? You know, it's like everyone saw it. So how do you defend it?
I just love the fact that he went back to him. He could have easily benched him for the rest of the game and probably been justified. But now you're hurting the team's ability to win a huge game. It was a nice touch going back to him, getting him back into the game. Just a couple little shifts. Couple shifts sends the message. Zuby.
Bobo Fett saying lots of disjointed play still in all areas, but a resilient win. Team needs Bouchard to iron out his game. Offense will come when Bouch starts to handle the puck better. I don't think there's any doubt
He scored tonight.
He's had trouble handling the. But do you think the offense, like Connor and the top guys' offense, will improve? Are those things connected? If Bouch starts handling the puck a little bit better, is that a fair criticism?
Yeah, I do. I think that a lot of them are just a little out of sync. Bouchard, I think Nuge is another guy. I think Hyman's another guy I'd say is just a little bit out of their rhythm they were last year. Maybe that the bar was set so high the last time we saw them play that, that's kind of where they should be back there. Why aren't they back there? So they aren't. They're not back there. But just fumbling of the pucks and just mishandling. And we're not accustomed to seeing that from these three I specifically just spoke about.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, Zuby, I got sidetracked there, buddy. Sorry, I lost that question in my head. I just saw a comment come in and it totally threw me off.
We were talking about if Bouchard's improved puck play will help the overall offense.
Yeah, bench me. Yeah, I understand there's some frustration there, Struds, because there's some mishandles on the power play and a few missed shots and stuff, but I mean, he wired one and put it in tonight. So, I mean, I know it didn't count, but take that as a step and just roll forward from there, I would say. Like, he blasted one and beat the goalie clean. So, good on him. And, yeah, he needs to handle it a little cleaner, but he had something good happen tonight, and maybe he'll build off of that.
Okay, a couple back-to-back here sort of on the same topic. Just Steve saying 93 looks like he got a new stick, like he's still trying to figure it out. And kind of piggybacking that, Carman Gill says, Jeff Skinner's been great so far for Edmonton since the PP has been off. Would you consider swapping out him with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins? Others would have three shooters on that unit.
Great question. Struds, what do you think?
I mean, the power play is at 20%, and it hasn't really been that good. right? Like they haven't quite got it all ironed out. It'd be pretty early to start pulling people off a power play, especially one that's done it this long. I would be personally surprised if they did that big time. So no, I wouldn't personally do it.
I think Nugent Hopkins wouldn't be the guy that they make an adjustment with. I still think that having Hyman shift off halfway through is the more likely play. Could be Skinner that goes on in that situation. I don't know. But I think Nugent Hopkins is so sure-handed, and he has so many touches on the entry. He's the first touch after McDavid gains the blue line, and he's always got to make a heady play there. And he's so sure-handed. I think he's underrated for how critical he is to that power play when they're playing well. His play on that wall, I think, is critical to that power play. So, yeah, I think it's a great question and an excellent point. I'm going to say no at this point. I think the more likely swap would be Hyman out after the first 40 seconds or so.
All right. Shane Matheson saying Nurse and Stetcher played well together. They actually seemed to talk a lot. Did you notice that, guys? And did you like what you saw from that pairing?
Yeah, I mean, Stetcher's, I think he's a more experienced and more confident player for sure than Emerson. And then Dermott is, I think the same thing. And he's a righty, so it's a little bit easier in that way. So I think we always kind of assumed this would be the guy that would get that spot and be the placeholder. The fight today, I think that'll be well received by his teammates and coaches. So he definitely, as Brownie says, is playing there Thursday. And as far as the talking, yeah, I mean, he's a veteran guy. You need to talk and communicate to your partner and make him feel comfortable that you're there to support him.
I want to see him play together for the next 4 games. Like, you found something, leave
Good
it.
point.
Leave it alone. Even if they're garbage next game, leave it alone. Something has to be given the opportunity to bake in here a little bit. Little bit insane that it's 3 different partners in 4 games for Darnell. Like, it's a little crazy. So now that something has worked, we'll give it a chance to bake in a little bit. That would be my thought.
Okay, here's a statement that I don't necessarily agree with, and it raised some ire with some other folks on the stream, but let me tell you what you guys think. Michael Dahl said, I'm not convinced Arvidsson is an upgrade on Foegele. Arvidsson maybe his game hasn't translated to the score sheet so much yet, but what have you seen overall from Victor Arvidsson, and what do you think about that statement in particular?
Okay, well, just the different style. Foegele is big and fast like a bull in a china shop. Arvidsson, not that he's slow, he's not as big, but I think he's more of a thinking man's hockey player. Whereas Fogel's like, I'm going to just skate through this here and I'm going to blast hard shots at the net. So that, I think Leon needs someone like that to play with. To be fair, Leon's game hasn't been at the highest level that I think it can be. And so Arvidsson hasn't been the benefit of that, much like when we've seen sometimes when Foegele was with him. So, yeah, like different style of player. I think, though, for what Leon needs or could use beside him, I think he's a better fit stylistically than Foegele.
Warren Foegele is not a top 6 NHL forward. Victor Arvidsson is, and he has been for quite a while here. 26 goals, 20 goals, 34, 29, 30. Like, Warren Fogel's never done any of that. He had the 20 goals, but so, yeah, he's a better player. He's a better fit. He's a more legit fit in the top 6. He'll be more comfortable in that spot. It was always a stretch to have Warren Foegele playing in the top 6. It was never going to be a long-term fit. It was always a stretch, and that's where this player has a chance to naturally fit. So I disagree.
Okay, last one before we remember to wrap up the poll tonight. This is good. People on the stream, take note. These are you'll get your question in if you ask stuff like this. I always want to know stuff like this. Scott K wants to know, Rashog, what arena has the best media food, and what is that food?
Wow. I mean, the food that everybody looks forward to the most are the hot dogs in Montreal, Shen Show. They're so good. There's something about those hot dogs. So, but now those are just novelty hot dogs. Yeah, I'm not on the circuit as much. Like, we should throw this at Jack Michaels or Gene or some of those guys that are on the road all the time. Stoff. I'm going to say that I recall No, that wasn't. I'm just trying to think of this last playoff run and if there was anything really notable. It's less about the meal and more about the candy. There's some really good candy at the Staples Center in LA. They got a wicked candy bar, ice cream bar, all the fixins. Like it's pretty good at the Staples Center in LA, I would have to say.
What's the best item? What's your go-to? We talked about this a little bit in the playoffs too, but what's your go-to in Edmonton at Rogers?
Oh, for me? Oh, the go-to
and
play
Struddy,
for me is
Struddy too.
Well, they've got the ice cream there. They got the ice cream cups. So I think I might have talked about this last year. I go the root beer in the vanilla ice cream with just a few of the little candy sprinkles. I have the root beer float right before every game. Struds. It is so freaking good, buddy.
You got to fight the other 9-year-old kids for that. Push them on the ground. Get out of the way. No, listen, I'm not up there very often, but I just love popcorn. I don't know what it is. I think when I didn't play, it was such a treat to have popcorn up there, and it was so salty after a hard workout. Because usually you'd have to ride the bike after, during the game. Then you'd go up there and pound through 3 waters and have just a salty bag of popcorn. So I love that. I don't really have popcorn that often unless I'm up in the press box. That's kind of where I seem to have a craving for it.
Just Steve chiming in. And of course, we'll remind you, Steve-O was on the road for years when he worked for the Oilers. Matinee Game Media Meal in Minnesota has a waffle bar. So those matinees where they do the breakfast, sometimes those can be pretty sneaky good. Tango saying, I am hungry now. Tango, I'm with you, man. I'm starving. I did not eat enough at the media meal. So probably a bedtime snack going to happen, Struds. How do I not? How do I not do it? I'm so hungry and it's bedtime. I do not have the discipline to just go to bed right now and not eat.
Yeah, well, you're only 5 hours away from breakfast. So, you could also look at it that way.
It doesn't help me now, bud. I'm so hungry right now.
I have the
Any
same
recommendations? Problem. Like, what's a good snack right now, Zuby? What are you going to go have right now?
I'm going to have some pepperoni and cheese curds and maybe some almonds in there, a little proteiny.
Wow.
A little protein snack.
Snacking
Snacking late is a big problem for me, and part of the problem is I have kids that I eat dinner with at 5, and then then I'm up until midnight, or later. So I got to find a second dinner in there somewhere and not a right before bed meal. But that's my.
You go easy on yourself. It's your birthday, buddy. You treat yourself.
Struds,
any recommendations? Like, what's a good late night snack, bud? Like, what's a good to not just kill yourself?
I don't know. When I get hungry at night, I pour myself a tea. I make tea. And I find that takes off some of the hunger.
The idea that I'm going to walk into that kitchen right now and make tea for myself, I just don't think I can get there with that. Zuby, wrap up the poll, buddy.
Yeah, let's get to this poll. The poll was who, in your eyes, was tonight's first star. 45% voting for Troy Stecher. 29% of the vote went to Adam Henrique, 17% for Stu Skinner, 6% for Leon Dryisadle, who was actually named the first star, and a few write-in votes for Darnell Nurse. People had lots of good things to say about Darnell on the stream tonight, and that was over 300 votes. So thanks to everyone for all their submissions tonight. Great night on the stream. Excellent stuff.
All right, let's wrap it up with our play of the day, brought to you by our great friends at Gallery Dental. From air polisher cleanings to advanced treatments, Gallery Dental offers a full range of services designed to keep your smile healthy and beautiful. Contact GalleryDentalYEG.com. That's GalleryDentalYEG.com. Struds, lots to pick for on this night.
Yeah, we're going to go back to Columbus, and we talked about the most great moment before the game, the retirement of the jersey, and the 13 seconds. Well, his longtime buddy, Sean Monahan, plays for Columbus, signed there. And on tonight, he scored his second goal of the year. And he got knocked down after he scored. He got right up and he pointed towards the end where Johnny Gaudreau's jersey or number was hanging. So I thought that was a great moment, to honor your lost friend in that way, in that moment, on that night. I'm sure he was desperate to score.
Yeah, you can sort of see it there, but there's the picture that came across Twitter. So it Pretty amazing moment on a night of pretty intense, amazing moments in Columbus. All right, Struddy, good job tonight, buddy. I know it was a late one, man. These 8 o'clock starts are murder, but if the Oilers are going to give us storylines like that, it works.
Well, it cuts into your guys' ability to make a nice meal for yourselves at midnight. So
toast. I think I'm going with toast. 2 pieces of toast with some peanut butter and jelly, Struds, right before bed.
Yeah, makes sense. Just sit it right in there.
Zuby, enjoy some birthday cake, buddy, and then get some sleep.
I plan on it. Thanks, fellas. Thanks a lot. And thanks to everyone on the stream as well. Very kind.
Good job tonight, guys. Thanks to Brownie as well. Thanks to all of you for joining us. We appreciate it. We'll check in a couple of days as the Oilers are now heading out on a road trip. Heading out to take on the Nashville Predators on, Thursday. So we'll drop a post-game pod then. Thanks for joining us. And big thanks to all of our sponsors, including our title sponsor, Play Alberta. Talk to you soon.